The lights are on. We're live on your television. We're live at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We talk football in 60 minutes. Here is Football 360, your number one football show on television. We talk about football in 60 minutes, the most important issues in the world of football in the last 1 week, but most importantly, over the weekend. It's been an eventful week. It started with the soap opera at FIFA, where FIFA President Sepp Blatter tendered out his resignation in terms of FIFA presidency. He'll be stepping down as the president of FIFA come the extraordinary general meeting starting possibly from January till March. We'll also be talking about other issues that are happening in the world of football. On the local front, Esperance took on Accra Folk in the return leg of the Cup, Confederations Cup. Remember, Esperance won 5-0 in the very first leg, so Folk were hoping to turn out that result into another 5-0, possibly going to an extra. That never materialized. It was 1-1 in that particular game. We'll also talk about how Champions League football in Europe ended yesterday. Barcelona picking up their 4th title in 10 years, meaning that the last 10 titles, out of that, Barcelona's won 4 of them. We'll also talk a lot more about what is happening in the world of black satellites. That's under 20 tournament. Remember, they've been drawn against Mali in their second round game. We'll talk a lot more about that right here on your Football 360. But most importantly now will be the Black Stars. Remember, they'll take on their Togolese counterparts in a friendly game tomorrow. They've been training today. We'll talk a lot more about that right here on Football 360. I introduce my guest. P.R.O is on my immediate right, and Adams is also on my far right. Guys, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, how's Kasapa doing anyway?
We're doing great. We're doing great. I'm sure you've been hearing of us.
Yeah, I've been hearing of you. That's why I'm quite interested how Kasapa Radio, Kasapa FM is doing.
Yeah, we are in not to add up to the numbers. We are in to,
to make a difference.
To make a difference, yeah.
Okay, so that's a good one to hear. But definitely, we'll come to talk a lot more about what is happening on the local front in terms of Accra. So we'll focus the discussions immediately on the Black Stars. The story, like I told you, is that they are playing their Togolese counterpart in a friendly game tomorrow. So we'll talk to the P.R.O of the Football Association, Saanie Daara, on the line quickly now, because he's got to move on to another program now. So we will talk to him right now, and then we'll come back to the studio guests to continue discussions with regards to the Black Stars and all the other stories pertaining football in the last 1 week. Joining me on the line right now is Saanie Daara of the Ghana Football Association and also the P.R.O of the Football Association. Hello, good evening, Saanie Daara.
Good evening.
How are you? Good to hear from you. Good to be talking to you on the show.
Good to talk to you too. Good evening, and good evening to the viewers this evening.
Okay. Quickly, let's just go straight to the point. How was the Black Stars training this afternoon?
Oh, it was quite tense with a lot of competition. I would have thought that we were preparing for a friendly. Yet the players trained as if they were preparing for a competitive match. That shows that there's a verve and energy for the match against Togo tomorrow.
Okay, but then let's just quickly focus on a bit of the player matters of the Black Stars with regards to, we've heard some story that Majid Warriors will be replacing David Akam. Sources say Akam might just have to arrive tomorrow as well. So what's the story with that particular situation?
Well, the situation is that on the first day of training, the coach had seen that some of the players might not arrive by the time he'd allotted them or he'd given them. So Majid Waris was also in town by then, and so he asked for him to be included in the team. Unfortunately, also, we've been hit with this injury to Kwesi Nyantakyi, who's a striker. So he comes in as a possible replacement for Kwesi. David was in action for his club last night, so we expect him to come into the country by tomorrow evening. Daniel Amate and Razak Ibrahim were also in action for their club this weekend, and they are therefore expected to also get here by tomorrow evening. So that is the situation on the ground. Majid was not called to replace directly to replace Akam, but he was calling to fill in, and his arrival has come in at a very, very good time with the injury to Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Okay, but what time is the game tomorrow?
The game is at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay. But quickly, since we have you on the show today, we just want to take the opportunity to go, probably delve into a bit of other matters apart from Black Stars. There's been quite a lot of story going around. I heard it on, I think it was on Friday or Thursday, that Kwesi Nyantakyi could be a possible candidate for FIFA president. Is that news?
Well, it's not something Kwesi is thinking about at the moment. A lot of people, including people in high places, including the very respected journalist Mark Jason of the BBC and Reuters news agency, have made this proposal. He thinks that he will fix the bill. But as we speak now, Kwesi is not focusing on that. He's focusing at the moment on his job with the Ghana Football Association, particularly on the league and the other competitions we have in our national teams, to ensure that we get things right. But for the moment, Kwesi is not thinking about being the FIFA president.
Okay, talking about the Ghana Football Association, in the last, what we've always known is that, the States probably finds it very difficult in stepping into the affairs of football, especially with Ghana Football Association. Given what has happened with FIFA internationally, do you think that there could be a possibility where the Ghana Football Association might be vulnerable to some level of investigations with regards to how they run their affairs?
Absolutely not. If there is any basis for it, there must be a basis for any calls for any investigation. And let me straight ahead insist that we are not afraid of any investigation whatsoever. Secondly, if there's any basis for it, if there's the need for an investigation, there must be a basis for it. And then secondly, not only a basis or evidence for it, and then there must be a legal ground for it as well. So these are the two things. But let me just say categorically that we are not afraid of any investigation. We think we are trained. And, anybody who has anything can come. Our books are open. And the third thing is, every year we audit our accounts and we prepare it before Congress. But the naysayers continue to come up with these things. If somebody has got anything to say, when we present our books before Congress, we are at liberty to come and ask questions there when we present these things. But in human life, people would have their concerns. We don't fault them. If they do have their concerns and they have any evidence to say that there's anything untoward or anything, they can always come up. We are interested in it. If they deem it necessary, they should come. But also, mind you, similar, I'll term it as, noise, so to speak, was made in 2010. And this resulted in Yoko coming right in our federation to say they want to investigate. What became of it? Yoko was told by the court, all they told, they were basically given a slap down and fined 50,000 cedis for what they did for its so-called investigating the Football Federation. So this is what happened to Yoko. So if anybody is interested, the person must come, whatever it is. But let me just state it. Every year, at the end of the football season and at the start of the football season, we have Congress, where we present our audited accounts. So if anybody has any issue whatsoever, they should come.
Okay, so that's the story. But lastly, I'm sure if I don't ask this, my producer will be on my neck. Some story that particularly dominated the media scene in last week was the apology letter of Sule Muntari. What I want to find out from you is that whether the FA has received any letter like that. If no, what's the story on it? Or if yes, would you be accepting that particular apology letter?
Well, it's been maybe 2 weeks now since the media started speculating that there's an apology letter in the offing from Sule Muntari. As we speak now, we've not had any apology letter from him. I don't know if it's still on its way. If it's on its way, we are interested in it. And the thing is that he's had previous suspensions, maybe 4 times. And on all occasions, he's routed the apology letter to the man in charge of international relations in Ghana football, that is Mr. Saanie. He has his email address. He doesn't even need to bring the letter. He can just even email it. That makes it a lot easier. So we are still waiting. It's been 2 weeks now. We are still waiting with open arms. We are not vindictive. We've asked that for the incidents that happened, we must use it to set an example. Two, when people do go wrong, they must have some, punishment, so to speak, of it, so that anybody with any intention of doing something like this in future will take heed of what has been done. But as we speak now, we are not vindictive. We would say that, yes, we welcome an apology. We would want people to know that, yes, he did wrong. It affected the country. It put the country in a bad light. But people would want to know if the person has reformed. If the person is contrite for what he did, surely we will accept it in good faith. We as Ghanaians cannot perpetually say that a Ghanaian is excluded forever from the national team. We can't say that. But we would have regulations and rules that people must also respect when they come to the national team.
Thank you very much, Sandara. I wish you all the best this week and have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
So that's Saanie Daara of the Ghana Football Association. He's a P.R.O of the association, and just talking about the Suleiman Tarish story. It looks as if the letter is still lost in transit. I don't know what you know about that particular story, but this letter has been coming forever. I don't know how long it's going to take to arrive at the FA or to whoever is responsible to receive this letter. But what do you think was a hoax? The whole story was a hoax?
Probably it was like testing the grounds to see how we could receive him. But I pity him because I wonder his advices. I understand his dad was quick to try to apologize to the Vidiama president at the time of the incident. And so then those who are very close to him, his wife, i.e. his friends, I don't know what they told him to do, because the more he waits, the worse the situation becomes. Because in our culture, it's unacceptable to hit an elderly person. And so let's say you lost your temper and therefore you did what you did. Some people even said he cried after. I don't know, I was going in Brazil. And so if those information that we got after the incident was true, then his actions after does not depict what they said. Yeah. Because it's too late. At this stage, it's too late. No matter what he does, it's too late. He's been a bad example to the younger generation, because even if he had a good cause to do what he did, after time has passed, you cool down. Yeah. And I understand he was in town for like a week, somewhere February, March. So what stopped him from actually taking the opportunity to say, oh guys, I'm sorry, and let it go. And he's a professional. And therefore, to whom much is given, much is required. And so we hold him accountable for his actions because he's a senior player. I mean, so there's no excuse for what has happened. But
what I'm even told is that he was at the game yesterday between Hasselhoek and Esperance.
So
it means he's in town.
Well, I also think it's taking too long for him to, render that apology. But I'm not sure will be the right people to, determine when he does that. I'm sure if he's worried over the incident, he would have apologized a long time ago. Yeah. And we don't have any business discussing this issue. If he does render the apology, yes, we'll talk about it. Now, I'm sure the FA has made it categorically clear time and time with that number that, yes, he's still part of the team, provided he apologizes. They did not give any particular time frame that he was expected to or required to render the apology. Anytime he does render his apology, I'm sure he's going to be in the plans of the coach. And if he decides to call him, it will be his call. It will not be my call. It will not be his call.
But it's not good enough. You see, it's a matter of principle. Mm-hmm. As a matter of principle, we live here. You cannot say that, okay, I'm called to come and talk on Viasat, and therefore I will arrive at the time I want. It doesn't work that way.
No, but the point
much as nobody is going to force him to apologize. What we are saying is that when you are given that opportunity to represent your country, it is a privilege to represent your country. You go to Brazil, mess up over there. The whole world Ghana is made a mess in the eyes of the whole world. The whole country is looking at you. You have kids who are looking up to him. Doesn't he sign autographs wherever he is? Why does he sign those? Hold on.
I'm not justifying.
No.
I'm not justifying what he's. I mean, what he's.
You cannot say that he can choose to apologize whenever he wants.
No, but I mean, I think the point he's just trying to say is that you cannot force him to do it.
He's expected to do it.
He's expected to do it. If he does not do it, we cannot do much about it.
That's why I said that it's up to him to apologize. Therefore, nobody is demanding that apology from him. But what I want him to understand is that the more the issue drags on, the worse it becomes for he himself.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I think what Adams is just trying to say is that, okay, yes,
if he's worried,
he should be able to do it now.
Not are we worried?
So it's obvious, so it's obvious that he couldn't be bothered.
He doesn't care.
So we'll just leave it. But let's focus on the Black Stars. I mean, they are in town, they're getting ready for that friendly game against Togo tomorrow. We've heard the stories of some of the players who have come into camp and all that. I do not think there's a lot that has changed with the team compared to the team that went to the last Nations Cup. I mean, the critical thing some other people will say as well is if it ain't broken, you don't fix it, because we had a very good tournament. We went all the way to the final. There were new faces in the last tournament and all that. I mean, you've got a good team available to yourself.
I totally disagree with that assertion.
Why do you disagree?
I think that competition brings out the best in everybody. When you have a season that has just ended, when the coach came in, because we felt that he had just 2 or 3 weeks to go to the AFCON, and therefore, as a nation, we need to show him the support. And I think all of us gave him that support to be able to do what he did. Cool. But remember, the same measuring stick and measuring stool is what I'm going to measure Ibrahim Grant with. To whom much is given, much is required. Ibrahim Grant is supposed to be the highest person in terms of a certain caliber of coach we've ever received. At his inauguration, he said he had a long database of Ghanaians he was going to add up to the squad, and that anybody playing in any part of the world will be allowed to play on a national team. He talked about a certain, I personally asked him at a press conference, his criteria for selection. He went beating around the bush. But when you have a season that has just ended, you have an Achu who barely played in the second half of the season. You have a Wakaso who barely touched ball. You have a Fatah Dauda locally of about 15 or 30 matches. I think he's kept 2 or 3 matches. You have an Edwin Jima. I don't know, is he telling us that locally we cannot find somebody at the quality of Edwin Jima and that of Kwesi Nyantakyi that cannot play? If locally we cannot produce anybody of the quality of Kwesi Nyantakyi, there's no need to play our local league.
Yeah, so mention the players locally that can fit into that position.
No. See,
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, we always talk about the fact that locally. But back in the day when we had local football thriving, on top of our minds we could mention names, players and say these players will fit.
As the week is going on, some of us are now going to move away from just talking about it and give him statistics of players and the names of players. I just want to. It's a conversation that we are opening up, and I'm glad we are using this platform for him to understand. And I like where you ask about a question. We're not going to give him statistics of players and the hours people have played and why they are not in the team. I think that our coach is being lazy. Very lazy. Very, very lazy.
Adams, I'll come back to you, but do you agree to that? I mean, what will be your impressions of the fact that the team that have been assembled again to compete in the friendly games? Because I, again, will still pose that question. The same local players were just taking the last COSAFA Cup. They were terrible. They're incredibly woeful. Why would you want to be making a case for a local Blasters now? Do you think this is a good enough team to go for a friendly game tomorrow?
Well, I will not reduce it to, him inviting just only some of their local players. But our friendly match before this particular game, I mean, he invited some players. Seydou Salifu was one, Richmond Boakye Adam. But I keep on asking myself, how did he try Seydou Salifu? This is a player that most of us, we've been saying he's the next Michael Essien. And it's not as if we've just been saying it. If you've critically monitored him, if you followed him, you will know that player has something in him. You invite him for a friendly game. What's
been his playing time this
He's been playing for Club Africa, he won the title and he won the league title with them. Richmond Boakye Adam was also invited. My problem
is Richmond, has he been getting good playing time? He's with Atlanta right now.
My point is, how do we invite the players for the international friendly games? You just invite them to warm the bench, or you bring them to try them to see if they can fit in. Yes, maybe you can take Richmond Boakye out, but Seydou Salifou has been playing consistently for his club. But when he was invited, he wasn't given the needed time to prove himself. Then again, yes, I do agree some of the players are also warming the benches of their club, but there have been instances that players who have not been playing for their clubs, I mean, when they are given the opportunity, they come to the party. Yeah. So you can make some room for some of those players, but you can't, make room for about 5, 6, 7 players. I'm not sure they get to that number.
So Ibo, the critical question is, let's just forget about this whole issue about local, foreign, and all that. The critical question is, we need to get players who are playing. We need to get the right players into the national team. Because yes, Kwesi Nyantakyi, you can say, okay, he's not kicked the ball, but the same player who did not kick a ball came to the African Cup of Nations in February and was the best player of the tournament. So you cannot exactly hold brief for the fact that he's not kicked the ball. But the critical question will be that if someone like Seydou Salifou and Richmond Boakye came for the last friendly games, I remember Richmond Boakye scored a goal. Yeah. What was the criteria in bringing them in? And how did you mark them that whether when they came in, they did well or they didn't do well, so that do they deserve another call-up? That's what we want to understand.
I understand. You see, one of the things I like about this show is that when you started, there was a trajectory that this show went. The kind of people that came on and the kind of people you repeated on. Your viewers will tell you, and I don't know whether you have your own marking scheme, the kind of people you brought on and what they said, and justify why you brought them. Some you didn't bring again, some you kept continuing. That is what we call consistency. This our coach comes in with a very high CV, talking plenty that he was going to do. No. You see, I'm particular about him because when he came in, we were told he's an UEFA whatever. Yeah. Come to do a developmental, big jargons that was said.
Yeah, but that we were very critical. Some of us were critical about it. That will only happen based on the structure and the plan of the FA itself. It will not happen out of vacuum. Good. He could be very intelligent. He could be very good at what he does. But if the FA has not got a good structure, I remember speaking to Asempa about it. And I said, if the FA didn't have a good structure to be able to for him to function.
I remember I spoke with
6 months down the line, we haven't seen what we were promised by him. Rather, this list is bought. You remember when we used to write our GC Pasco? It's like a past questions is bought us. Anybody who sat on the streets of Accra can give you this list he bought us. You cannot do that.
If indeed, truly and indeed, these are the players who can do the job for him. Fair enough. He can keep on repeating but we can, point out.
Yeah, so that's why I say it's important for us to be very specific.
Specific.
Because I think we're being general.
No,
let's say he's called up 22 players. Yes. Let's be specific. If it's 5 players, which of the 5 players in there that do you think that, in as much as fine, not all Ghanaian players get to play abroad, this particular place you do not think that they justify a call up to
I gave you the names. I felt that Achu has not played much this half of the season.
But I disagree. But Achu is a bit like your Messi.
I disagree.
You see, until Achu came into this team, we didn't know about him.
Yeah.
There's this young chap, he's called Bernard Mensah. There's a gentleman in Sweden, I think he plays for the Champions League. His name is just trying to escape me. That gentleman is very good. He has not had a call-up. When you call Wakaso is very good. No, but I'm not talking about the ability to play, but the fact that they've been a luxurious, permanent bench warmer. You don't do that to your team.
How many Ghanaian players are playing?
Yes, you can still make mention of certain players who have been warming the benches in Europe, but when they come and play for your team, they do well.
But that is why we want to change that.
You should make exception.
No, we can't do that.
You can't just bring in a player that you feel is playing for his club, and at the end of the day, he will not be able to play for his team.
I'm going to ask my guests to hold fire. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we do come back, we'll focus the discussion a bit on the specifics. Which players are we talking about that need not to be called in this particular team, and which other players are out there that we think that they deserve call-ups but have not been called? We'll be back in a moment.